Hey guys, today I'll be showing you how to use conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. Conditional formatting is a great way where you can easily understand certain data, make certain data pop, and just make your spreadsheet beautiful without having to go through and manually format every single cell. So I'm going to show you all the ins and the outs about conditional formatting today, so let's jump in. So from my last video, we calculated a mortgage loan payment. So now what I want to do with this data is I want to better understand what's going on and make it more visually appealing if I'm presenting to an audience. So there's many ways that I can do that with conditional formatting. So before we jump into that, I just want to give you a brief overview of the conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is found under the Home tab and then under Styles in conditional formatting. We're going to go ahead and click this. So immediately we get a lot of different options for conditional formatting. So I'm going to run through each of these. So at the top we have highlight cell rules, and we can see that we get greater than, less than, between, equal to, all these different things. So if we want to make cells pop based on their value, we'd want to come in here and do one of these. Then we have top or bottom rules. So if we want to highlight how the cells rank in a certain range of data, we could go in here and set rules to highlight them. Then we have data bars. These data bars will show us how cells stack up in a range of data. Same with the color scales and the icon sets. And then we have, if we want to make a new rule, get rid of all of our rules, or manage rules, we have these three options down here that kind of give us the main frame for everything else. These are more shortcuts than if we want to make sure we're getting all of it. We can do manage rules and new rules to really get into the details of everything. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of this data that I have from my two-way data table, as I want to do some conditional formatting on it. So let's say, I'm going to first give you some visuals of here. Let's say we want to see some data bars. So if I go here, immediately you can see that it begins populating based on the cell value. So I'm going to give it just this blue data bar. When I click that, it now shows me these blue data bars based on the cell value. So this can be very helpful, but I don't know if I actually love this view. So what if I want to get rid of it? I'm going to go to, I can either highlight here and go to clear rules and clear rules from selected cells, but if I hadn't highlighted it, I can do clear rules from entire sheet. An important note is if I click this and I have multiple conditional formatting across the page, it'll get rid of everything on this tab. But for now, this is my only one, so I'll do clear rules from entire sheet. Let's say I want something a little bit better. Let's say I don't want to pay $5,000, or maybe the higher the value in this scenario, the worse it is. So maybe I want a color scale. That might be more to my needs. So there's some automatic color scales that you see I'm just flying through and highlighting some of these. But let's say I want, the red as kind of the bad, that I don't want to pay that much, and the green's better than the yellow, somewhere in between. So maybe something like this could really work out, where I'm saying green is good and it's a low monthly mortgage payment, but then once I get up to a higher cost home at a higher interest rate, I'm paying a lot more. So that's another automatic one. And then if we want to go to any of these, you can also click more rules, and it'll kind of give you some more options if you want to change the colors. You can do a three-way color scale, which this one is, and then you can, play around with that a little bit more. A minimum, a midpoint, and a high value, and then you can also change these colors to orange, green, whatever we want to do. You can play around with that. But I'm going to go ahead and clear this again and do clear from selected cells. And let's say I want something a little more specific. I'm going to do the top and bottom rules. And say if it's in the top 10%, I'm going to highlight it red. So it already gives me this custom format, and then I can say, actually, I want the top 25, go to 25, and it'll give me all of this. And if I go to, all the way to 50, it'll give me half. So I can play around with that. I'm not going to click OK, I'm just going to click cancel. But let's say I have a budget of $2,500, and I want to make sure that I'm spending underneath that budget. So what I can do is I can highlight this table, I can go to conditional formatting, and I can do highlight cell rules. I'm going to go more rules. So I can do all of these, but if I go here, then it only lets me do greater than. I can't change it. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go to more rules. So now I can go to this cell value, And now it's looking at all of these cell values. And I'm going to say not if it's greater than, but if it's less than my budget, because that's going to be if I can really afford it. So now this is the value that I want to say, is it less than? I'm going to click my budget, hit enter, and then now I'm going to format it. So this is where I direct Excel of what I want it to look like if it's under my budget. So if it's under my budget, I can say it's good. So I want it to be green. And so that's a fill I can use. I don't want it to show a border because it already has borders. And then I'm going to go to font, and I don't want it to change colors, but maybe I'll make it bold. So I'll make it bold and light green like that if it's under my budget, because that's saying I can buy it, or I can afford the monthly mortgage payment. So I'm going to click OK. And immediately we can see that the cells highlight it green and bold it if it's under that payment. So let's say I got a raise at work and I now can afford something for $3,000. I can change it to $3,000. If I have this conditional formatting in, it automatically highlights more. Maybe I got fired and I can only afford $1,500 now. And it shows me what types of homes that I could buy. So really quickly, you can see the power of this conditional formatting where we don't have to do, or we have to do a little legwork at the beginning, but then once we do that, it becomes very, very easy to highlight certain data and to understand and digest the data. One quick side note just about conditional formatting. If you have a lot of conditional formatting in a workbook, it can slow the workbook down. So don't get too trigger happy with conditional formatting and just really do what's important, because if I have like 10 rules going, it can slow the workbook down. But now we're going to go to another quick way where I can show you conditional formatting a little differently. This is with a to-do list. This is my quick and dirty list that I have of stuff I need to do. And let's say I want to cross off as I'm doing things or delete or whatever. So I could, say, okay, I did my task at work, so I'm going to go ahead and, strike through, cross this off, and then I need to go here. And I need to, I'm working on this, so maybe I want to highlight it yellow or whatever. But what's much better to do, especially if you have a running list, I'm going to undo those things. If you have a running list, what's best, also zoom in here. So what I'll do is I'm going to highlight this whole section and go to conditional formatting and click new rule. So I'm going to go down to use a formula to determine which cells to format. All of these above it is just more detail of what I already showed you. So you can go to any of those. But for this one, I want a formula because I want to track it based on my progress, not on a number value. So I'm going to click here, lock it to the column so that it stays in this column. I'm going to say if this is equal to, and I'm going to go done. Then I'll hit enter. I want it to cross it out for me. So I'll do strike through, and then I'm also going to make it a light gray, or a dark gray, so it doesn't pop as much. So I'll click OK, and then OK again. So immediately you see that it crosses out here. But let's say I don't want the done crossed out, I just want the task crossed out. So then I'll go back, manage my rule, and then I'll say applies to, instead of this whole thing, I'll just say this side. So just the list, and then I click done, and then you see this is crossed out, but this isn't. So let's say once I do the dishes, I do done, boom, it's crossed out as well. But now let's say I want to, really make my to-dos pop. So I'm going to go to conditional formatting, manage rules, and then I want to highlight. So if you don't highlight the rule, then it won't show you. So I'll do manage rules, but now I'm highlighted. I'm going to go to duplicate rule. So I'm going to click duplicate. So now I have that exact same rule, but I don't want the exact same, I want to edit it. So now I'm going to edit that, and I say instead of done, if it says to do, which I'll type in, put it in quotes, and now I don't want it to strike through, I want it to be just the automatic color. I want to bold it, and then let's say I want it to really make it pop, so I want to do a light yellow. So this is everything I have to do. So I'm going to click that, okay, and then immediately it says, oh, you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you need to get more subscribers. So those things pop, and that's on my to-do list. And then if I wanted to format in progress to something, I could make it a light green or whatever to show that I'm working on it. But you get the point, and you can be creative, and conditional formatting is all about how you want the data to pop. So I hope you learned a little bit about conditional formatting today. I want to hear your thoughts, other questions that you might have, because conditional formatting is such a great tool and you can get so creative with it. And I don't want to miss out on any things you guys might have discovered with conditional formatting. So go ahead, hit the like and subscribe. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. See ya.